All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here gathered in a Bavarian-style restaurant just right in the middle of Munich before the great radio show from Danko Jones.
Yeah.
On our behalf, which is really nice.
Well, this is the day our album comes out, A Rock Supreme. This is basically our release day show. This is how we're going to kick it off. This is our release day party.
Yeah, we cannot thank you enough for being here in Munich. You could be anywhere. New York, Rio, Tokyo, for the release, but you're here.
Rio, wow. I don't know if we could. I mean, we've been to Brazil once, but I think if we were, we've never played Rio de Janeiro though, so that would be an odd show. I would be happy to be there, but I'm happier to be here in Munich today because we've been to Munich many times, and we know that there's a lot of rock fans here. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we talk about your new record, this is going to be a small show tonight. It's exclusive. It's just, winners only from the radio. Do you prefer more big stages or more the smaller club?
It doesn't really matter to me. I like the fact that this is I don't think you can call like a big room a party. It becomes more of a spectacle. This is really more like a party. It's very intimate. There's maybe room for a little over 100 people. So it's going to be, and I like it when it gets warm and sweaty. So it's a nice way to kick off the album's release. It's a great way. Our last album, Wildcat, we didn't have a show on the release day. So this is nice to do that. On the day of the release, we are not playing in our hometown. We're many miles away playing in Munich. It makes us feel like, we're kind of semi-important. We're all the way here in Germany, So it's fun.
This is probably one of the dumbest questions you can ask, because obviously you are, but how excited are you about the record and about the new one?
Well, I'm excited because we all know that this is a really, really solid record.
Yeah.
We knew it when we finished it and it was mastered. And so it was just more of anxious for everyone to just hear it. Like I just wanted people to just hear it now. So now that it's out and, people are finally I'm getting people's response, through social media minute by minute as it happens. It is exciting. It's not exciting in the fact that, there's less record stores now and there's, it's our 9th album, and we've done this many, many times before. It's not exciting that way. It's exciting because we're getting the response immediately, and it's all great. It's people are digging it.
Yeah.
So
we do too.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are. Yeah, I mean it's great, and not just from people who are familiar with our music, but like people in other bands are actually checking it out too. So it's nice.
How excited is it then to play those songs? Probably for the first time.
Yeah, it's exciting to play new songs with each album every time. But we've been playing these songs, well, at least 4 of them, for a few months now, leading up to actually this moment when the record is finally out. We've been playing We're Crazy and Burn in Hell, Lipstick City, Dance, of course. But we started playing Dance, Dance in February in the U.S. when we were on tour. That was the first times we were playing it. So
it's going to be easy tonight.
It's going to be fun, Yeah, absolutely. Although it is difficult to sing Dance, Dance, Dance. It is. Okay. So whenever I pull it off, I'm very happy with myself.
I didn't look it up, but I was just so surprised that most likely nobody ever got the idea before you guys did to call a record A Rock Supreme. With A Love Supreme from John Coltrane and the Supreme.
Yeah. It was almost a joke. It was the 11th hour, and record companies and managers and all these people in the background were demanding the name of the album. The one we had was still tentative, and we weren't really sure of it. And
what was it? Paranoid Greatest Hits.
No. We were going to name it after one of the other songs off the album. And it didn't really scream out title track anyway. So we were kind of figuring it out. And Rich, our drummer, he just threw a Rock Supreme out just as almost as a joke, and we all kind of thought, well, that would be a playoff, arguably the most successful, most loved jazz record of all time. So it's kind of sacrilegious to do that, and so that's kind of rock and roll to be that sacrilegious. So we thought, if there's any group of people to hate us, jazz purists are always the most fun to piss off. So that's why we did it. And we've done it before. We did it with Fire Music. Fire Music in 2015, 2 albums before this, was a playoff on an Archie Shepp record called Fire Music. And I thought we were going to be asked about Archie Shepp for 2 years, but we never did. So we thought, okay, let's do it and see. But, you know, because A Love Supreme is just more popular, we have been asked about John Coltrane. And we're all 3 of us are very big Coltrane fans. So it was easy for us to go, well, we can speak about that. You know, we can speak about Coltrane and we can back it up. A Love Supreme is an incredible record, and we've all 3 of us, I can speak for Rich and JC, we spent hours with that record in particular. So it's not something that we're just pulling out of our hat, you know.
You know, when you listen to a Rock Supreme, I was trying to say a Love Supreme.
Yeah, I've done that too. I've actually tweeted about this new record and written A Love Supreme. So some people get it, and some people go, you switched rock with love. And yes, because...
But it's always, you know, generally it's always like when a new Danko Jones record comes, it's very easy to listen to. Is it always that easy to write?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I hope I don't come off like a dick, but it is easy to write because it's easy to write. I mean, I'm not, you know, it's not, I'm not revealing some sort of magic trick. Yeah. It's pretty easy to write rock if you like it a lot and if you listen to it a lot, and we've been doing this band for 23 years. If you know, we can't write a good rock record by now, we shouldn't really tour and be around. So it is, I mean, it's a long process in terms of, you know, it can get tedious where we start to like dig into the weeds and like figure out like, oh, we should go to the G after that part. And, you know, that's more of songwriting and arranging. But the general gist of the riffs and the general gist of a song, to make it good, is very easy to come up with. I mean, in 10 minutes, I can come up with 10 riffs. Now, whether they're good or not, I don't know. Yeah. But in an hour, there should be one that at least I can like bank and put aside for when we do start writing the next record or songs or whatever.
So where is Lipstick City? And how do I get there?
Well, Lipstick City is definitely, you know, there's a lot of city songs, Paradise City being the most obvious one. And so in a way, Lipstick City is a play off of Paradise City. Using lipstick, it's a very used, I'd say, item in rock and roll when it comes to I was thinking of the New York Dolls and stuff like that. So that's where Lipstick City comes from. And I do say rock and roll El Dorado in the lyrics. So it is a place that is different for each person, but it exists for each person.
It's funny. You know, the record starts off with, I'm in a band and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I think like you should have changed the lyrics. I'm in a band and I still love it.
Well, I mean, we have been doing it for quite a long time. That is true. We're still doing it after, you know, everybody's kind of faded away. We're still here, and we've never broken up. There's never been some sort of interim where we've taken a break, or we're doing a side project, or we're
a reunion tour
where we ask for more money. That's a play that a lot of bands are doing these days, and so
keep that in mind.
What happens to all the bands that just keep doing stuff and never break up and can't bump up their image because we never broke up, so there's never a chance to cash in on anything because we're just steady. And we all take a page from Motorhead every 2 years, like clockwork, they would put out a new record and just go out on tour.
Every December 2nd, Munich, it's Motorhead Day.
Yeah, and we've done that
Sometimes
date.
November, though. Sometimes November the 30th.
And we've done that date with them, you know, so I get it, you know, and I'd rather use Motorhead as a playbook or as a cue or as a role model, rather than, you know, a band that breaks up and then comes back together and then there's a whole reunion and a big fuss. It's not, sometimes it's happened so often that it's just not genuine anymore. Sometimes there's a band that reunites and you legitimately are surprised, and that's a real, and you can tell it's a real legitimate reunion. Like the Misfits, Jerry Only and Glenn Danzig getting back together. The rumors and all the gossip for years, I never thought that would ever happen. Same with Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, exactly.
Those two bands especially, like just the splits and what was said in the press and what all the backstage gossip that circulates within the industry, you kind of think that'll never happen. So when those kinds of reunions do, it's different.
Yeah,
I would love to see the Misfits.
Oh, yeah, me too. But they played Chicago twice. They have Dave Lombardo on drums. What can you do wrong?
And AC Slade on second guitar. It's great. And Doyle's there as well.
It's funny. I referred to you in Motorhead in a different context because I thought that you guys just keep on going, you keep on rolling, you do your thing, and it goes just all the way. And sooner or later, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. You guys got to be cult.
Yeah,
like Bad Religion, like Slayer, such as Motorhead,
or like
whatever.
Big Star when everyone's passed away and we can't do much about it. But from your lips to God's ears, I hope it happens sooner than later. It would help, but you just never. I just don't bank on that because people don't. I think when it's out of sight, I think out of mind. But also, time is really what's needed, and people need to be reminded. And we're always here. You know, we've got a big social media presence, and so maybe we are our own fault that we're still around. And in order to, become some sort of like looked at in a sort of like a cult way or in a new way, we have to go away for a while. And I'm sorry, we just don't want to do that. So we'll live with the consequences of just everyone taking it for granted. That's fine. As long as we get to do this. Like as long as we get to come to Munich on the release day and put out records and go on tour. And, it beats like waiting around at home, twiddling my thumbs going, okay, so when are they going to announce the reunion? So, no, I prefer this,
There's something I found today, and I knew kind of about it, but the graphic makes it really look funny because I thought like, this is your band timeline,
Oh, wow.
That's you and John.
Okay.
And then I thought like, this must be the band.
Wow, where did you get that? I've never seen this.
It's from Wikipedia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's colored, and actually it's so funny.
It's a German Wikipedia then, right?
I think it's the English one.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing is, like,
I didn't know this.
Well, that must be the band timeline from Spinal Tap. Look at the drummers.
Well, but look at the years. It's 23 years.
I know.
And most name bands, they figured out the average lifespan for a name band is 7 years. So we've outlasted it more than 3 times over. And in those 7 years, bands also switch members up and down. So when you add it all up, kind of makes sense.
Damn. You got your statistics right there. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. But JC and I, those solid lines is something that should carry us through your question, and plus all the people behind the scenes that nobody knows.
Yeah.
We work with certain people that we've been working with certain people for 18 years.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that. And other people who are not with us anymore were with us for even longer. So it's hard to prove that it's not us, it's them kind of thing, but but they don't know the whole story, and it just looks that way. But in terms, it makes us look like, oh, we just kick the drummer to the curb every few years. But with Rich, this line is definitely going to be longer and solid. It'll be a third solid line.
When you wrote the new record, did you write it all together?
Yeah, we write all our records together. We have to all play them live, and we all have a equal say in them. Right. I write all the lyrics for it because I got to sing it. I've always had that. I have always said that from day one. If I'm going to sing it, I just want to be able to do it with some, if it's not my words or my thoughts, it's hard for you to do it night after night.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a line you don't really, I don't even understand what this means kind of thing if someone else wrote it.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me sing it with a sincere gusto every night. But other than that, the music, we all write together. JC does a lot of the arranging, like he's a good arranger that way, and Rich as well comes up with like a lot of, sometimes he comes up with melody ideas and stuff, and I just grab it and start singing it. So the three of us are definitely all involved. It's not one person handing down notes and stuff. That happens in other bands, but not this one.
How difficult is it to write rock and roll lyrics?
It's easy. I mean,
yeah. How much can you write about women that hasn't been written yet?
Well, I think it's easy, but having you say that, it is. I think what's not acknowledged is the fact that because we have painted ourselves in such a corner, people dismiss it as, oh, it's just the same thing over and over again. But you try doing the same thing over and over again and having it sound fresh and entertaining you enough times over and over again. I find that the art lies in that, working within just small confines. Yeah. And I think our music musically sounds very fresh, album to album. And it comes from a wide range of references, music references, and that comes from a wide range of listening to music. Yeah. Lyrically, you're right. It does revolve around relationships, men and women over and over again. But
don't get me wrong. You're not next to Kiss or Whitesnake, which are like the worst when it comes to lyrics, as far as I can see.
I mean,
it's a personal opinion.
Yeah, that's your personal opinion. Although they do have a few songs that are pretty good. I mean, lyrically, it's debatable, but for the most part, it's actually quite easy to sing about women, and relationships between men and women, over and over again. I find.
What's going to be the near future for you guys? When are you going to come back to you?
Oh, well, we're playing, Germany or Munich?
Germany.
Germany, we're going to come back in the summer for festivals. Right. And I think I could be wrong, but there's 2 or 3 on tap.
All right.
The one right now that comes to my mind immediately is Highfield. We're going to play Highfield. Mm-hmm. And then we're always going to do our own major city tour with every album, and Munich is always part of that. Always has been since the first time we came here, in 2001. So, yeah, it's definitely a city we'd never forget.
What do you think you can achieve with a Rock Supreme? What do you want to achieve with this record?
Well, I think it's the same thing as every band putting out an album. They want it to be very, very successful, and as successful as, I don't know, a U2 or a Michael Jackson record or Appetite for Destruction or something. I'd be lying if I was to say, we just want like everyone to dig it. Well, we want everyone and 10 million other people to buy it. But that's what every band wants, So, but hopefully this will, onwards and upwards, definitely. But from everybody's response so far within the first few hours of it being released, it's like I woke up this morning and right off the bat, people were getting the pre-orders were coming into their iTunes, and people were hearing it on Spotify and all kinds of, and then uploading pictures of the vinyl on their record players. So so far it's been great response.
I'm surprised that you can act so cool about all those personal statements being made on social media, because it can get annoying too if you get a shitstorm. You cannot stop that.
A shitstorm of compliments? How annoying does that get? How jaded do you have to be to get annoyed at that? Your life must be so luxurious for you to actually get pissed off at a barrage of compliments. So for me, I'm someone whose glass is half empty, right? Yeah. I can read 10 comments, but one negative comment, I will fixate on that. Yeah. So having what has been going on in the last few hours in the morning and into the afternoon has been very pleasurable for me. I'm digging it. I like all the every comment where people are like, yeah, this is great. I'm very happy about. Genuinely, I like it or whatever on whatever you call it. You like it or love it or whatever you do on social media. But yeah, I'm digging it a lot.
All right, good.
Does Mick Jagger do that when they're the Stones? Oh my God, the Stones are amazing. Oh my God.
No, you know.
Turn off the tap of compliments.
The question was meant in a different way because sometimes you know when you get negative comments.
Oh, you mean negative comments?
And that piles up. How can you handle that? You know, because it's exactly as there are positive comments.
Well, this is my point. Is like so far there hasn't been any negative comments about it. There was one news outlet in one country, not Germany, that on Twitter went out of their way to tag us in the review of the album, and it was a bad review of our album. But I mean, that's more on them. Like that, they would go out of their way to tag us on the day of the release to tell us that it's not a good album. Is like, first of all, that's ninja level trolling. but more importantly, I think it shows a lack of class, and it's bad form to do it on the day of the release. Wait for the day after. Like give the band the day is what I've always said. I remember I got in a real big fight with a band in Toronto once when I was on the cover of the weekly, like the Village Voice of Toronto or whatever. And that was the week that this one band, who are friends of ours, decided to like, there's something I said in the article they didn't like. Had nothing to do with them. They were all projecting. But my whole point was, could you give me this week where I could just enjoy me being on the cover and of our hometown and just like bring it up maybe next week and not shit on my week where my mom sees it? Like now, like this was the first time my mom would actually see that being in this band is actually, you know, yielding something. Could you at least call me next week and shit on me then? And so that's what I've always remembered in the back of my head when there's something that happens on someone's day, not to do it on their birthday, not to do it on the release day. So that's what, like, that lesson taught me really well. And those guys apologized.
You were, or you still are, doing stuff for radio, right? Besides the podcast thing.
No. I gave up a radio show I had 05.
Why?
It was too much work.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't be on tour and come up with a playlist and all the as you know, all the stuff that needed to research every single selection on tour. It just got to be so much. So I gave it up. And the podcast, I can do because it's every 2 weeks. And then when we're in the studio or if we're off on tour and I can't get Wi-Fi to post it, well, then I just take that week off. There's no one pressuring me. Although I do 2 podcasts now.
Oh, all right.
One is a weekly podcast and one is bi-weekly podcast. It's used to kill time on the road. So I always make sure I have a lot of episodes archived, so if I'm on a 6-week tour, I can easily throw them out and stuff. So, but it's fun, but radio's too much of a beast. I can't keep up, man. Podcast is just a mellow drive, but radio it's like relentless.
It's ruthless.
It's hard, man. It's hard, you know.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's how I know, you know. So I had to give it up. I was too soft for radio. Too soft.
Nice one. Thank you very much.
All right.
Cool.